Happy Sunday night, guys. Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, coming to you for our Sunday night live stream fishing show. Hopefully y'all are ready for another great show. We got a lot of stuff in store for you tonight. Hopefully you guys are excited as I am for another great show. Happy Sunday night, Facebook. Thanks for tuning in. We're live on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook and YouTube channels, and tonight we're giving away over $180 in free fishing trips. That's right. If you want free fishing trips, tune in every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. to the Hubbard's Marina Facebook and YouTube channels for a chance to win. Tonight we're going to be giving away a 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. And if we beat last week's viewer record, we're going to give away a second 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. So literally almost $400 in free fishing trips. All you guys have to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Again, we're giving away a 10-hour all-day for 2 guests at the end of the show. And if we beat last week's viewership record and we stay real high in viewers throughout the show, we're going to give a second 10-hour all-day for 2 guests away. So stay tuned. Tell your friends. We're going to get rolling here in about 5-10 minutes or so. Probably close to around 8:40 is when we're going to get started. So we're a little late tonight. I apologize. Church ran a little long and I had to get my wife some food, but it is Sunday, January 13th at 8:30 p.m. and we have started our Sunday night live stream show. We're going to actually get rolling with the video here in probably about 8 minutes, around 8:40. So you guys have some time. Make sure you like and share this video. Tell your friends. And again, stay tuned. Stay tuned through the whole show. We're going to give away a 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. And then if we beat last week's viewership record and we stay really high in viewers, we're going to give a second 10-hour all-day away for 2 guests. So giving away a lot of free trips tonight. All you have to do is stay tuned and hopefully have some great questions lined up for me. I've got a good show lined up. This week, we don't have a bunch of videos, but I'm going to call some of the captains. We're going to chat with the captains, and we're going to talk about what's going on now, what's coming up, and a lot of other great information, guys. So stay tuned. Plus, we've got a random comment picker lined up. So we're going to be able to randomly select a viewer from Facebook and randomly select a viewer from YouTube. And then that's how we're going to decide who wins tonight, guys. So all you have to do is stay tuned. Tell your friends. Share this video, like this video, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, make sure you like our Facebook page. Again, we're going to get rolling here very shortly. I appreciate y'all tuning in and spending Sunday night with me. It's always a good time hanging out with you guys, so I appreciate you spending your Sunday nights, and hopefully you guys are excited for another great show. I know I am. Again, we're going to get started here shortly. If you're watching this live, just bear with me. We're going to get rolling probably around 8:40. If you're not watching this live, you just stumbled upon this video, you missed out on the live show and a chance to win free trips, but you can always join us every Sunday night. And if you're not watching this live, you just want to watch a rerun, skip forward to where you see the video start in about 6 minutes forward or so. Okay, guys? So again, we're going to get started here shortly. Hopefully you guys have some good questions lined up. We always talk about what's going on now, what we've been catching. We talk about what's coming up. Then we talk about some fishing tips and tricks, and then we answer your questions. So hopefully everybody's got some questions for me. Make sure you like and share this video. Make sure you comment where you're watching from. We're going to get started here shortly. I know I've got my drink ready. You guys still have time to go grab your drink. Again, we're going to get started in about 6 minutes or so, guys. Just letting some people fill the room. And for those of you just joining, we're going to give away a 10-hour all-day for 2 guests if you watch the show with me. And if we beat last week's record of viewership and we stay real high in viewers, meaning you don't just watch and then leave and then come back, if we stay real high on viewers, we're going to give away a second 10-hour all day for 2 guests. So stay tuned to the show tonight, guys. It's only about an hour long, and you have a chance to win $180 value in fishing trips. And if it goes well, we get a lot of people watching, you could win upwards of $350 in fishing trips. So definitely stay tuned. Tell your friends. And let's talk some fishing, guys. I hope y'all are ready. I know I am ready. Always a great time on these shows. Thank y'all for tuning in and spending your Sunday night with me. Remember to like and share this video. Don't forget to tell your friends. Share it on your timelines. Send smoke signals. Whatever you got to do. We're going to get started here soon. Just making sure we get this all set up and make sure our YouTube random comment picker is working. Definitely want to make sure we can pick y'all's comments here real well. So just give me a few seconds. This is new to me, so I am kind of learning as I go. So bear with me as I get rolling here. Again, just give me about another 3 or 4 minutes and we'll get started. Possibly sooner, but you still got time to go grab your drink and your popcorn and your fishing questions, because we're going to answer all your fishing comments, questions. You still got time to go grab your drink here shortly. And we'll get rolling. So I know I'm excited. Hopefully you're excited. Just figuring out the YouTube randomizer here, guys, so bear with us. Hang on 1 second, y'all. Thanks for hanging in with me. Got to figure out the randomizer so we can give away lots of free fishing trips tonight. Again, we're going to give away a 10-hour all day for 2 guests. And if we beat last week's viewership record, we're going to give away a second 10-hour all day for 2 guests. So going to be a great show. I appreciate y'all tuning in. And I appreciate y'all staying tuned in for the show. Hopefully y'all have got a chance to like and share this video. And we're going to get rolling shortly. Just got to make sure we got everything running here. And I want to give you time to make sure you got your drink in you. Your drink ready. And honestly, I'm trying to figure out how to get this randomizer going. So give me just 1 second. Save link. Again, guys, we're going to get rolling here shortly. I appreciate you bearing with me. Just give me a few seconds. Once we get this randomizer set up, we're going to get started. So again, make sure you comment where you're watching from. Make sure you tell your friends what you're doing. Make sure you get your questions lined up for us, because we got lots of great information here tonight, and we're ready for a great time. Hopefully you are. Again, we're going to give away free fishing trips. We're going to give away lots of fishing tips, tricks, and more. We're going to talk to Captain Frank. We're going to talk to a few other captains as well. So always a good time hanging out with you guys. And hopefully someone's going to win some free trips. Maybe we're even going to give away multiple trips here. So we're just about ready to start. And hopefully you guys are as well. So let's get rolling. I apologize for the wait. Sorry for being a little slow tonight. Had a little technical difficulty getting the randomizer working, but we got it running. So we're in business and we're ready to give away some free fishing trips to all of you lucky people that are hanging out with me. And I appreciate y'all spending your Sunday night with me, and hopefully you guys are ready for some good talking fishing. So first things first, let's talk about what's going on right now. Right now, we've got a lot of great things happening near shore and offshore. We're catching hogfish. The hogfish bite is really starting to pick up for us. We're starting to see the mangrove snapper has just been insane. Just really crazy on the mangrove snapper. And also, I'm going to pause for a second here, guys. We already are up to a lot of viewers. So if this viewership continues to climb and stays high through the show, we're going to give away 2 sets of 10-hour all day for 2 guests. So help the viewership climb by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribe to our channel, and tell your friends to call them up, tell them to get on the live stream show with us, and we're going to give away nearly $350 in free fishing trips if we beat last week's viewership. So thanks for helping me out, guys, and I'm going to thank you for hanging out with me by giving away lots of free trips. But back to what we were talking about, mangrove snapper. Mangrove snapper are super thick near shore and super thick all the way out to about 90 foot of water. So anywhere from about 30-35 foot of water, we're starting to see some small mangrove snapper. 40-50 foot, we're starting to see bigger mangrove snapper. And then around 60-70 foot out to about 120 foot, we're seeing consistent big mangrove snapper right now. Mangrove snapper love greenbacks, shrimp, small pinfish. My favorite thing for mangrove snapper is a thread fin plug. We talked before about how to prepare those thread fin plugs, how to hook them, and how to do the double snell rig. But the double snell rig is definitely what you want to use for all those different baits. Those mangrove snapper are very quick biting. They come up, they snap at your bait, they do a circle and come around and swallow it. So you want to make sure you're using that double snell rig to make sure you capitalize on that mangrove snapper bite. But definitely small pinfish, live shrimp, live whitebait, greenbacks, goggle eyes, whatever you can find as far as live whitebait. And then the thread fin plugs are what we use the most. Brining your bait helps a lot. If you're on a longer range trip, you can definitely get away with brining your bait. Right on our website at hubbardsmarina.com, you can click fishing trips. After the live show is done, of course, click fishing trips, scroll down to fishing tips and tricks. We have a bunch of fishing tips and trick videos right here on our website, and we filmed a whole video on how to brine your bait for snapper and how to rig that double snell rig. And then up here we have a video on how to tie that double snell rig. And again, all that information is right on our website, hubbardsmarina.com. Click fishing trips, then fishing tips and tricks. Our website has a ton of information. Under fishing trips, you can find the weather links page to show you all about the weather. We're going to show you that in a little bit and talk more about the weather. But the website has everything you need to know and more. And we're only adding more every day. We've been blessed. We actually had a pretty big change here at Hubbard's Marina. We picked up a web design guy. So literally in my office right next to me, I have a web guru who is the mastermind behind setting up this live show for us. And then he's also helping me build the website out even better. So every day the website's going to get better and better through 2019. And we actually crashed the website the other day because we were putting so many videos and so many photos on the website and so much content. So So we've increased our server space, and that website's going to do better and better. But back to what we were talking about, mangrove snapper. So definitely that double snell rig near shore. Right now, that 4/0 hook, 5/0 hook is a great option. Around 40-pound test, even 30-pound test if you're in shallower water with pickier snapper. Offshore, I like using a solid 40-pound test, maybe even 50-pound test, and about a 5 or 6/0 hook. Double snell, definitely the way to go. I personally prefer my 2-speed Daiwa Saltiga. Accurate makes a great reel. Shimano Talica makes a great reel. Definitely a 2-speed higher end reel because if you get that grouper or that bigger fish, you got a chance to get him too. But if you don't have the budget for a 2-speed reel, the Daiwa Seagate, the Penn Squall is a great reel. Some of the single speed accurates that are a lot more affordable work well for mangrove snapper. But the idea is you want at least 5-to-1 gear ratio or more when you're fishing for those mangrove snapper because they're so quick. And then also you want to make sure that you have a very sensitive rod so you can feel that mangrove snapper come up and tap, and you just got to put the hammer down. The biggest mistakes you can do while fishing for mangrove snapper is not having a large enough variety of bait, not using a wide enough variety of techniques if they're not biting, and then not being fast enough. You have to be so fast, especially when you're using shrimp or greenbacks or dead bait, and even the pinfish too. You just, once they start nibbling, you got to start cranking like a madman. Some people like using spinning rods for those mangrove snapper. I personally prefer using my conventional rod, but if the bite's a little slow, I'll go to that spinning reel with the knocker rig or a jig head or a ball jig like a naked ball jig or one of those Captain Chappie's ball jigs. Any one of those techniques. My favorite technique to start out though is that 2-speed reel, about 40 to 50 pound test, and then about a 3-ounce egg sinker on my main line, a swivel, about a 4 or 5 foot leader, and that double snell rig, typically with about 40-pound test and a 5 to 6/0 hook if I'm offshore. If I'm near shore, a 4 to 5/0 hook. The hogfish bite has been really, really good, and it's been picking up. It's going to continue to pick up mangroves or hogfish bite really well November, December, all the way through April, May. And we get hogfish all year, but when the weather's cooler, they definitely get a little bit more aggressive, more prolific, less leader shy, more aggressive, and we tend to catch more of them hook and line fishing that time of year. Also, there's less pressure on them, and I feel like in the summertime there's so many people out there fishing, there's so many divers in the water, those hogfish really get a lot of pressure, whereas this time of year water's freezing cold, there's not as many divers, the water's tends to be more murky, so it makes it a little easier to get those hogfish. But all in all, the hogfish bite's going really well. Typically like 30-pound fluorocarbon, about a 4/0 hook, a super, super, super long leader. Typically I'm using braided line, and then I do a line-to-line knot with like 15 to 25 foot of fluorocarbon, and then a little egg sinker and a 4/0 hook. That's the knocker rig style setup that I love to use for for hogfish. But the easiest method is probably using about a 3/4 ounce to 1 ounce jig head. The lighter the weight, the lighter the knocker rig, the lighter the jig head, the more natural it looks, and the greater the chance of getting that nice hogfish and catching them consistently. But the lighter the weight, the harder it is to feel the bite. So you have to kind of balance the size and weight of your weight you're using with how you're able to feel the bite. But using those bull bay rods that we have at Hubbard's Marina, we developed our own line of Hubbard's Marina bull bay rods, and those really help kind of cheat almost and feel the bite a lot better. But let's look at some photos, guys. Let's see what we've been catching. And I'm gonna, while we're looking at these photos, I'm gonna give Captain Frank a ring. I know he was ready to talk tonight to you guys. He wanted to tell you about what's going on right now and what's been happening. We've been catching quite a few fish, so let's see what Frank has to say as well. But Look at these nice hogfish. I'm not lying. We're catching a lot of hogfish, and we have a lot of viewers tonight, so we're going to go ahead and give away 2 10-hour all days for 2 guests, guys. So stay tuned. Don't leave. What's up, Captain Frank?
Hey, good evening.
What's going on? You're live.
Oh, okay, we're live. All right.
We're live.
Oh.
Yes, sir. So how's things going out there? This is Captain Frank, for those of you who don't know him. That with that goofy smile and the white glasses, that's him. How you doing, bud?
They all know me. Come on.
You're kind of a big deal.
If you're tuning in, you know who I am.
So how's the fishing out there, bud?
Oh man, I don't even want to come in with the boat. It's been so good. It's like you just want to just keep fishing out there. The hogfish are doing awesome, and same with the mangrove snapper. It's just been, the fishing's been just it's been really good.
It's the year of the mangrove, right?
The year of the mango. That's right, baby.
Yeah, we were joking.
We got almost a 4-pound mangrove snapper on the half day the other day. Man, it was awesome.
Yeah, the mangrove snapper. We're looking at a mangrove snapper right here, guys, from that half-day fishing trip. One of the many big mangrove snapper we've been catching in 30, 40, 45 foot of water on the 5-hour half-day. On the 10-hour all-day, 60, 70, 80, 90 foot of water. Lots of big mangroves as well. What was the biggest one you said you caught this week, Frank?
It was almost 4 pounds. It was a real nice one, for sure. And they've been coming up on the shrimp and the squid. It's the funniest thing, man. I've never really seen mangrove snapper come up on those Humboldt squid wing chunks that we use. But this year, we've been getting them. I'd say I think we had an all day a couple of weeks ago. I think we got 30 mangoes, and 25 of them, I would say, came up on the squid. And I've never seen anything like it. I've just never seen them eat that squid, and they're eating it now. I don't know why, but it's working, and they're coming up on the shrimp too. But and we're getting hogfish with them too. I think we got 4 or 5 really nice hogfish, those big males on the half day, and we're getting sheephead too. Crazy thing,
dude. The size of the sheephead that came off the half day today. I mean, it had to be a solid 3, almost 4 pound sheephead. It was huge. It was,
for sure.
One of the biggest
we
ones
got we got multiple 3-pounders for sure. Yesterday morning.
Now those sheephead, they go offshore to spawn, and we see those in pretty high concentrations this time of year, huh?
Yeah, we're getting anywhere from just 1 or 2 to 5. I think we had 5 yesterday morning, and along with I think we had 5 hogfish, just a couple mangrove snapper, and the flounders, of course. They're I think we got 3 or 4 of those too. So it's been good.
Yeah, the flounders. Another thing I forgot to mention, that we're seeing a lot of flounder near shore.
Yep, that's for sure. It's like I said, it's just been good fishing, man. That's been great fishing. I mean, over the top, like the best I've ever seen, been a part of. This has been really nice. And,
but the red groupers seem to have slacked off a little bit for us. I was talking to someone the other day. It seems like we haven't seen the red grouper bite like it should be.
Agree.
Agree.
We did pull a 22-incher though on the half day for about 3 days ago. It was a really nice big one. I think it was maybe Wednesday.
Wow. So we are seeing some red grouper, but it's these big mangroves, the plentiful hogfish, the occasional flounder, the lane snapper too. We can't forget about those lanes. We seem to be seeing a lot of lanes too, correct?
Oh yeah, our last few all days were over 100. I mean, we've got over 100 in the box of the lane snappers, and strawberry groupers too. I talk about those all the time because they're my favorite. I know they're little, but man, they're absolutely one of my favorite.
Yeah, I think one of those little strawberry grouper or Graysbees or whatever you want to call them are some of the best eaten fish that we catch near shore. Maybe I think
I
even
wish I
better
could
than
target them.
hogs.
I mean, I wish we could like literally target them. You know, be like, oh yeah, we got 200 strawberry. Because that would make my day if I could do that.
Yeah, they are very good eating those little strawberries for sure. So what would, if you were going out fishing on a 5 hour half day or 10 hour all day, what would be your rod and reel setup, your tackle setup, your bait choice? So these guys can follow suit this week. The weather this week looks really good. The second half of this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday even. So what would you do?
That's a tough one because, you know, I never would I want say 60 people on a boat using this rod, because it would, you know, it would drive us crazy. But if you know how to work it correctly, you know, you could definitely do it. And I use a Shimano Stratic, the CI4, that carbon, I think it's a carbon fiber reel. And it's really super duper light. And I run a 20-pound braid on it, and a 20-pound mono top shot that, again, we like the longer top shots than what I use, but I use a top shot that's only maybe 5 feet long, and yeah, it's a shorty, but you know, it's just what I like to use. And
I find that a little longer top shot, like 10, 15, even 20 feet, seems to work a little bit better for me because those fish don't have a chance to see that braid.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own on that one. You know, there's some people that like to put even more than that on there, and you know, I've even used those naked ball jigs with no top shot, just straight braid right to the jig. Now that's a
you get too many tangles.
Yeah. So it's that one's kind of tough, but yeah. And I like to use a 1/2 ounce egg sinker. You know, and this is all, you know, on a good weather day. You know, obviously you can't pull off a 1/2 ounce lead when it's blowing 15 knots, because it's, you know, it's lifting, just the wind hitting your braid on its own is going to lift it up. But you know, perfect conditions, that's, you know, what I like to use. And those circle hooks that we use, the 4/0 circle hooks, seem to work for me. And I do that 1/2 ounce egg sinker right to the you know, the knocker rig. And yeah, I mean, that's my you know, I use a Star rod too, and I've always had good luck from the Star rods there. I get them from Dogfish Tackle. Those guys have always been good to me down there. And
shout out to Dogfish.
Yeah, the 2500 CI4. Yep.
So we're looking at this photo of your daughter, Kylie, the first mate on board there, holding up that hogfish. Now, did she catch that hogfish?
You know, I don't know.
You don't watch.
She got that one.
She rides around that boat without you, man. She's all over the place, unhooking fish.
I know.
People.
I come around the corner sometimes. She's got, you know, 5 gray snappers on one hand and a pair of pliers with another one, and the, you know, 6 gray snappers carrying around the deck. And you know, she's definitely been raised on that boat for sure. Yeah. So it's one of my favorite things to do on the boat is when she's there. You know, I see a 12, 14-year-old boy that's not touching the fish, and I'm saying, hey, you want my daughter to get that for you? And it's and the dads eat that up. They, you know, they look at their kid and they're like, you want the captain's daughter to get that for you? It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, she's a pretty cool kid. Well, I appreciate your time tonight, Captain Frank. We got to get you back on the show here soon. But basically, the long story short of this phone conversation is the bite is super hot right now. You need to come out and join us for that Thursday 10-hour all day with Captain Frank, and some of these half-day trips this week. Tomorrow and Tuesday is a little bumpy. It's about 2.5 foot. But Wednesday it goes down under 2 feet. Thursday and Friday is less than 1 foot. It's just flat calm Thursday and Friday. Saturday is still really nice, and then this coming Sunday we're gonna have a big spike in weather. So you definitely want to get out fishing sometime this week. I would recommend somewhere Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Probably Thursday and Friday being the best days to go fishing. come join Captain Frank, right?
That's right, and don't tell Smokey, but we're probably gonna be late all week because the fishing's just been so good, and he
Smokey
hates
doesn't
being
mind
late.
being
But no, we're gonna be out there late, guys. So if you're running, we're gonna run out there 12 miles. We usually do an hour ride out, but these are about an hour and 15-minute rides out to get to these this little area I've been working, and it's been very, very lucrative for us to be going out there. So,
and almost all the trips seem to be coming in late. Captain Joe was 30 minutes late today. He wanted to be an hour late today on the half day, but someone had to come in and be home by 1:30, so he came home a little earlier than he wanted to. But it seems like all the trips are running late right now. We're definitely running a little bit further than we have in the past. Typically, those half days, we'd get away sometimes with running 6, 8, even 10 miles. And it seems like behind this red tide, we're consistently fishing 10, 12, 14, even 15 miles on a half day. Yeah,
don't tell the boss, though.
Yeah, the boss doesn't need to know that. Don't worry, I keep an eye out on things, but we definitely are fishing further, guys. We're staying out later. You're getting a better quality trip further from shore, and the bite has been really good. And that's all because right now that's where the fish are. We go where the fish are. We spend the extra fuel to get out there. Come join us, right?
That's right. All right, we'll see you sometime this week.
All right, see you later, Captain Frank. Thanks for joining the show. Give Joe and Anthony and the other guys a text if any of them want to join the show. Just tell them to call me.
Cool. I sure will.
Thanks, Frank.
All right, later.
All right, so you heard it, guys. Captain Frank is catching the fish. We're going to run through these real quick. You guys have already seen these photos. This gentleman and his wife travel down from Cleveland every year to go fishing with us. They've been fishing from shore. They've been fishing on the dock. They've been fishing on the boat, and he finally got that hogfish he's been after. So really, really happy for him to catch that hogfish. He ended up catching it on a rental rod. You can see it there. That's a conventional 4/0 reel, nothing super fancy, with 60-pound main line, a 3-ounce egg sinker, 40-pound test, and a 4/0 circle hook there using that shrimp. So definitely you can get these hogfish even on the bigger tackle. Kylie here, Captain Frank's daughter, showing off her nice hogfish. Smokey obviously showing off a nice hogfish with a gray snapper in his hand. And then some of the nice half-day catches. You can see the mangrove snapper in there too. Definitely catching some nice mangrove snapper on the half days, the all days. Captain Anthony today did a Flying Hub 2 extreme trip. Didn't get a chance to talk to him yet. I'm hoping he'll call into the show and we can chat with him about his extreme trip. But definitely been catching some nice fish. The 12-hour extreme right now is going to be targeting those scamp grouper, red grouper, that kind of stuff. And then those big mangrove snapper that we've been catching. I'm texting Anthony, can you call into the show? Let's see if he is still awake. He did get up at 2 a.m. this morning to run that 5 a.m. 12-hour extreme trip, and he has another trip tomorrow. So most likely Anthony's not going to call in, but those new Suzuki engines are working out very well for us. The Flying Hub 2 is actually running faster and more efficiently on the wing. By more efficiently, I mean before with our Yamaha engines on that Flying Hub 2, we would get a solid 33, 34 knots, almost 40 miles an hour out of that boat. But occasionally we'd hit some chop and the boat would fall off the wing and slow way down. And then it would take a second for that boat to build up momentum and get back on its wings and really start to fly. Now with the Mercury engines, we had trouble even getting on the wings to begin with. It was super slow, super terrible. Now we've got these Suzuki engines. It hops right up on its wing. It rides more reliably on the wing. So when we hit some chop, it doesn't fall right off. So today we took out 12 people on an extreme trip, had some extra weight on the boat. So hopefully that boat ran very efficiently today with that extra weight. If it did, we're going to be in business, guys. We're going to be able to do a lot more with that boat. So we're really excited to kind of stay tuned on what's going on with that Flying Hub 2. The Flying Hub 2 runs 12-hour extreme trips. People ask me all the time, do you guys do split charters? That's what the extreme trip is. It's a 12-hour private charter, basically, on the first of a kind, only boat in the entire nation that's a U.S. Coast Guard certified COI hydrofoil assisted catamaran used for offshore fishing. So first of its kind in the entire nation. It's a private charter boat. You can privately charter it anytime you want with your group. But if you only have one person, you can't afford a whole private charter, you can book that 12-hour extreme trip. It's a split charter. It's your opportunity to go out on a Wednesday or a Sunday from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m., 70 to 100 miles out. You get about 7 to 8 hours fishing time. And right now we're going after those red grouper, scamp grouper, mangrove snapper, that kind of stuff. So definitely look into that 12-hour extreme trip. And then also we have those super light 39-hour trips. A lot of people ask, when is this? When is that? When are your trips? The 5-hour half days are every single day. The 10-hour all days are Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Our 12-hour extreme is Wednesday and Sunday this time of year. And then also Fridays, May through August. And then the 39, 44s and all the other trips are right here at our specialty trip schedule. You can go to the specialty trip schedule and click on this specialty trip schedule, and it's going to bring up all the different dates of all our different trips. All our specialty trips for the whole year are right there at the specialty trip schedule. All you have to do is click that photo. And then if you want to know what's in season, all the time people are asking, hey, I'm going out my buddy's boat, what can I keep? You can just go to the fishing rules and regulations page, and right here at our fishing rules and regulations page, you can download the Fish Rules app. That Fish Rules app is what the Gulf Council and the South Atlantic Fishery Management Council are both using for their federal regs. So if you're going fishing from shore, from a dock, from your buddy's boat on the beach, or if you're going out into federal waters, the Fish Rules app has all the regulations that you need to know. Or if you don't want to download the app, you can just scroll down and click this photo. It's going to take you to the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council's little handout with all the different rules and regulations. And look, there's Captain Frank. So a lot of information there on the website. But we've talked a little bit about what's going on. Now let's answer your questions, guys. You guys came here for the Q&A, so I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to start answering. And if I didn't answer your question, if I don't get to your question, I'm going to go back through and answer your questions later if I don't get to them live. If you asked a question earlier, it's gone away. It's disappeared. I can only see the last most recent comments. So if you asked a question at the beginning of the show, don't be afraid to repost that question for me, and I'll go ahead and answer it there for you live. So let's go ahead and see what our first question is. Someone said, how much fishing time on a half day? A half day fishing trip is a 5-hour trip. It's an hour out, hour back, 3 hours of fishing. Our 10-hour all day is about an hour and a half to 2.5 hour ride out, hour and a half to 2.5 hour ride back, about 6 to 7 hours of fishing time. But the best resource, again, is just going to be the website right at hubbardsmarina.com. You can click fishing trips and just double click the fishing trips. That's going to take you to hubbardsmarina.com/deep sea fishing trips. And that's going to show you each one of our party boat trips, how much it costs and how far out it goes. So you can see how far out each one of these trips travel, how much they cost. Let me zoom in on that for y'all so you can see it real clearly. But that is a really good resource for you guys to look at the different trips, how far out they go and how much they cost. As far as the trips go, the best trip coming up is definitely going to be that 44-hour full moon trip. This 44-hour full moon trip is going to go out this coming Friday, the 18th. We've literally got 16 people on it. We're definitely going to go. It's been too long since we did one of these 44-hour trips. So it's a super stupid light load. and check out the weather for it. The weather is absolutely gorgeous, and right behind this trip, this Sunday coming up, a week from today, we're going to have some seriously strong weather. We can go to the Weather Links page of website, and we can see this big cold front coming through. Look at that, 30 knot gusts. So that's a serious cold front that's rolling through Sunday. But Friday, when we're fishing on that 44-hour 44-hour trip this Friday, 1 foot seas, 1.5 foot seas, and this is 70 to 100 miles from shore. So it's going to be a flat, calm 44-hour full moon trip. It's going to be killer fishing because it's right ahead of that front. Right on our website, we have that video, How Weather Affects Fishing, and that talks about as these fronts approach, that front really gets these fish excited. The fish have a lateral line down the side of the fish. That lateral line might as well be a barometer. It basically allows the fish to sense movement and pressure changes under the water. It's how they kind of see under the water, and it also helps them to feel or sense approaching weather changes. So as these low pressure systems approach, the fishing is incredible. So this coming weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday should be awesome fishing as that super strong front that's forecasted to hit Sunday comes into the area. So definitely, if you have the opportunity, that weekend 44-hour coming up has a super light load and the fishing should be incredible. So definitely join us for that. But hopefully that answered your question about the half day. Michael Hall said, are those 350s? Yes, the Flying Hub 2 runs dual 350s, double 350s. We had Yamahas, then we went to Mercury, now we have Suzuki's. Those are the Suzuki 350s with the dual props. It works really well. Grouper Man said, what should you expect to catch on a 10-hour all day? This time of year, we're catching a ton of mangrove snapper, some pretty good amount of hogfish, a ton of the lane snapper, a few vermilion here and there. Always get the white grunts, or what we call gray snapper, porgies, sea bass. We catch a few red grouper here and there. And then right on our website, you can go to fishing trips and click the trip you're interested in. I literally put too much information on here. And one of the big sections I have here is what can you expect to catch on your trip. Large section on each one of those website pages that talk about what you can expect to catch. So definitely check out those pages of the website on what trip you want to do, and it will help you kind of dial in on what you can expect. Tracy said, I've done the morning half day and I was wondering if it was better in the afternoon, AM half day versus the PM half day. We do an AM half day every day, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then we offer a PM half day from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. when we're a little bit busier and we have enough people and we need to split up the amount of people. We'll offer 2 half days. So typically like March until like July, August, we run AM and PM half days. This time of year, we're so slow. For example, tomorrow, we only have 24 people going out on our half-day fishing trip, so we have tons of room around the boat. We don't have enough people to offer a PM trip this time of year. But as far as which trip is better, AM half-day versus PM half-day, it really doesn't. There's 6 to 1, half a dozen of another. Sometimes you catch more in the morning, sometimes you catch more in the afternoon, sometimes they're about the same. I can say typically when it's cooler outside, most of the time that afternoon half day does a little bit better because the sun has had time to kind of come up and warm things up. During the hot summer months, that morning half day seems to be a little bit better because the water's a little cooler still. It hasn't gotten super hot and stagnant, but it has a lot to do with the salooner. When is the salooner? If we have a huge salooner from like 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., then obviously the afternoon's going to be better. If the salooner tide's kind of during the morning trip's going to be better. So as far as what trip is better, it's hard to tell without knowing specifically what the weather's doing and what trip you're referring to. Sylvester Steele Jr. said, does your crew assist disabled customer? I want to plan a trip for myself and military veterans. Yes, our crew will help out anybody and everybody. They're really focused on children and people who don't know how to fish as much, but they're love to help veterans out too. We do a lot of trips with Wounded Warriors. We do a lot of trips with Black Dagger Military Hunt Club. We do a lot of trips with Reeling Freedom, and a lot of trips with Vet Catch. Those are all local veterans organizations we've worked with and we continue to work with, and we'd love to work with you as well, getting some veterans out fishing. It's one of my favorite things to do, right behind taking a kid fishing, but definitely the veterans are very important. It's the land of the free because of the brave, so I appreciate your service and getting those veterans out fishing. Give me you can email me at CAPT, so capt, CAPT, Hubbard at hubbardsmarina.com. Shoot me an email and I'd love to talk to you about getting some veterans out fishing. Grouperman asked, are any yellowtails showing up on the 10-hour? We are catching a few yellowtails here and there. Yellowtails spawn like mangrove snappers spawn. They spawn anywhere April to May until like August, September. Most snapper species spawn over the summertime, so we see more yellowtail in the summertime, Grouperman, than we do this time of year when the water's cooler. But we do see a handful of yellowtail snapper. They're definitely more common when we fish to the south. When you fish up to the north or to the west, you don't see as many yellowtails. But the further south you go, the more common we see yellowtails. And in the summertime, we definitely see more yellowtails. Let's see what other questions we have here, guys. Don't forget to comment where you're watching from, like and share this video, and ask any questions you have right in the comments, and I'll answer them for you. Let's see here, what else we got. What's a better bait for hogfish? Fiddler crabs, shrimp, or sand fleas? It's kind of a hard question, Chad Rizzo, but all of those baits work really well for hogfish. Fiddler crabs, shrimp, sand fleas, rock shrimp. We catch fiddler crabs on all those different types of bait. Some days the fiddler crabs work better. Some days the shrimp work better. Some days the sand fleas work better. It's kind of hard to tell, or it's hard to say what bites best or what those hogfish want best. Most commonly we use the shrimp. The reason I like using shrimp is, especially if I'm on a charter and I've got 6 clients staring at me, I like using shrimp because shrimp catches the widest variety of species. So if I'm going out there and I want a lot of action and I want the guests to have a lot of action, a lot of bent rods, a lot of bites, shrimp is the way to go. And if everybody uses shrimp, it gets a lot of smell going in the water and we tend to do pretty well. Now, fiddler crabs definitely help you kind of dial into those hogfish. You don't have as much bycatch. The gray snapper, the porgies, the sea bass, they'll still bite the fiddler crabs, but it's not like a shrimp. You send a shrimp down there, everything bites a shrimp, and you rip through the shrimp really quickly. They fall off the hook quickly. The fiddler crabs, they still come off the hook pretty easily when something cracks their shell, but it's a little harder to get off the hook than a shrimp. And not as many fish down there will go after those fiddler crabs compared to those shrimp. Everything down there will devour those shrimp really quickly. So I like using, if I'm going out there with my buddies and all we care about is hogfish, I'll use a little bit of cut shrimp, a little bit of dead fiddler crabs crushed up, and then that Aquatic Nutrition Sport Fishing Chum Super Shrimps product. I'll take that chum, I'll get it nice and ready to go, and I'll throw it up current from where I'm anchored up. And me and my buddies will all send down fiddler crabs and see what happens. If we don't start getting them, we'll send down some shrimp. If we don't start getting them, we'll switch back to the fiddler crabs or the sand fleas, and we'll keep toning down the tackle, starting with 30-pound. Then we'll go down to 20-pound. We'll keep trying different things until we catch that first hogfish. Once you catch that first hogfish, then it's like someone hit the light switch. You catch a couple more, and then a couple more, and then a couple more, and then all of a sudden the bite stops. The bite stops, you do exactly what you were just doing at another spot close by. Those hogfish live in harems. Typically, where there's one male hogfish, there's going to be 5 to 7 other female hogfish. So typically when you catch one hogfish, especially a female hogfish, there's other bigger males around and plenty of other females. And typically they live in somewhat of groups with one dominant male. So definitely when you catch one using a certain method or a certain bait, continue using that method and bait in similar areas until you've gotten your fill. But definitely a lot of fun. Hogfish are one of those things, it takes a lot of practice and takes a lot of just dumb luck as well, coming from me, trust me. And then once you start catching them, once you've caught a couple, you really start to dial in, and it really just makes it easier and easier. It's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but once you get one, you keep going, and it gets easier over time. So let's see what other questions. Jake Hodges said, are sand fleas on the beaches right now? Honestly, Jake, I'm not 100% sure about sand fleas and their habits and when they're here, when they're not here. To my knowledge, sand fleas are there all the time. When I was a kid, I spent a lot of time at the beach hunting shark's teeth, and I would always see sand fleas no matter what time of year I was out there. Granted, I didn't go out there when it was frigid cold, so I don't know exactly what they do in the wintertime, but I would imagine sand fleas are around year round. And then you can always order frozen sand fleas. We used to sell sand fleas in our bait shop, and we sold rock shrimp, we sold everything, and we just didn't really have a demand for it. But if you want sand fleas, we can order you sand fleas, frozen sand fleas in large quantities, Jake, and have them for you in our bait shop. We do sell live white bait, fiddler crabs, live shrimp, pinfish. We have all those live baits. Then we have frozen octopus, frozen bonita, squid, threadfin, cigar minnows, a lot of different baits in our shop, in our bait shop. We sell all the bait, beer, and ice you need. You can always stop by on your way out of the pass, hit the dock up, run in the shop, and get some bait on your way out. What is the best bait for hogfish? Just answered that one. What other questions do we have? Edward Hall say, are greenbacks in the bay, and where are they? I don't know where the greenbacks are in Tampa Bay. I know we have a lot of greenbacks and some pretty good sized greenbacks, perfect for mangrove snapper, hanging right around the Johns Pass Bridge. Today there was boats almost all day long throwing cast nets at the bridge fenders and coming up with some nice white baits. Again, we sell white bait at Hubbard's Marina, and we catch it right there around the Johns Pass Bridge. So there's definitely a lot of white bait around the Johns Pass Bridge, and I'm sure there's plenty of white bait around the bridges in Tampa Bay as well. Let's see what other questions we have. Calvin Switzer said, can you catch hogfish in 20 or 30 foot of water? I've seen keeper hogfish caught at the Johns Pass Bridge before, so you definitely can catch keeper hogfish in shallow water. Now, typically, the most common areas for hogfish is around 40 to 60 foot of water, but anywhere from 30 to 70 foot of water, you can catch hogfish fairly consistently. I've seen hogfish is caught hook and line as deep as 130 foot of water. One of the biggest hogfish I've ever seen caught at Hubbard's Marina, it was just shy of 18 pounds, was caught on a pretty good sized pinfish while fishing for grouper offshore on a 39 hour with like a 7/0 hook and like 60 or 80 pound test. Caught this monster hogfish. Definitely a trophy I will never forget being reeled up. I didn't catch it, but I got to see it. It was pretty cool. Brittany Abel said, any tips or tricks for sheep's head and trout? I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not an inshore expert, but I love fishing for sheep's head and trout. I grew up on a boat. I got my first boat when I turned 9, and I did a lot of inshore fishing from in my earlier years. So sheep's head, definitely I like using either a 1 or 2/0 hook, typically a 2/0 hook. They're a little stronger, and then like 20-pound fluorocarbon, probably like a little 2-foot section of it, and then braided line, probably 20-pound braided line, and then a little split shot if you need it, or no weight at all. and then you want to send that down right next to the structure of a bridge, of a jetty, of a dock, and you want to use either a barnacle, a fiddler crab, or a cut piece of a oyster meat or clam meat. That seems to be the best baits. Barnacles, little piece of shrimp, or a little piece of oyster or clam. And that sheep's head is just going to demolish it. This is the best time of year to get sheep's head. And we've been seeing a lot of big sheep's head. There were some kids fishing. Toby Spinelli is his name. Him and his buddy were fishing the dock today at Hubbard's Marina. I walk out to go to my truck, and they've got a couple, they both holding a big black drum that they were catching right next to the dock, right by the beach behind Hubbard's Marina, using live shrimp and a little split shot weighted to the bottom. They said they were also catching some nice sheep's head too, using the same method, just pitching shrimp underneath the dock from the beach behind Hubbard's Marina. So a lot of nice black drum and sheep's head inside John's Pass right now. As far as trout goes, right now the water is pretty chilly, so you really need to slow it down. I like using a DOA shrimp. It's my favorite bait. It was my dad's favorite bait. It was my grandfather's favorite bait. The DOA shrimp hasn't changed in 4 decades, and there's a reason for it. All these fancy shrimp that cost $12 or $20, ridiculous. You can get a 3-pack of DOAs for $6, $7. Even cheaper, I think it's like $5, and those DOA shrimps are the bomb. The trick is you gotta slow it down. If you're reeling like this, or if you're reeling like this, you're reeling too fast. If you think you're going slow enough, you got to slow it down even more. Those DOA shrimp are really, really bad to the bone, though. And once you catch one speckled trout, there's typically a couple more speckled trout right next to them. Typically, they live in little groups like those hogfish do. I like casting on the flats. You got to go to shallower flats. This cooler water gets those trout into the shallower water areas. I like going at low tide out in my boat, and I can see the different oyster bars and grass and sandbars and grass flats. The lowest low tide you can find, which this is a great time of year for it, the winter. We have super low tides. We're coming up on the full moon this weekend, so this is a great time to go out on those negative tides. Find your oyster bars or your sandbars or your grass beds. Find that topography, and then you can go out there and use that to your advantage to go get those trout. Throw in a DOA shrimp. You want to match the color of your artificial bait to the color of the water as far as the DOAs go. So right now I'd be using like a one of those like darker colored shrimp to match that muddier water, and you want to work it super slow. I like casting it out, letting it sink, then I reel a couple times, and then I'll let it sink, and then I might twitch my wrist just a little bit and just repeat until you catch that trout, and then keep doing the same thing. But a DOA shrimp is hands down my favorite bait for those trout. Really, really cool. And if you like inshore fishing, don't listen to me. Check out Salt Strong. Salt Strong has a whole mastery course. I done a grouper mastery course and a snapper mastery course for them. But the man, the myth, the legend, C.A. Richardson himself, who is kind of my role model when it comes to fishing seminars and fishing education, he is a god among men as far as educating people on how to fish. And he does a huge speckled trout mastery course for Salt Strong that you can purchase. By the end of it, you're going to know way more than I do about speckled trout fishing. So my recommendation to you, Brittany, is check out Salt Strong and get C.A. Richardson's course. But let's see what other questions we have. Angie said, what is the best grouper bait? Well, right now, gag grouper are closed, but red grouper and scamp grouper are open. For scamp grouper, I like a small pinfish or like a 2 to 4 ounce diamond jig bounced along the bottom. For red grouper, I like a pinfish or a long strip of squid. I like using like an 8 to 10 or 12 inch strip of squid that's maybe about a ½ inch to 3/4 inch wide. Nice long strip made to mimic, cut to mimic an octopus tentacle or a small frozen octopus, which we sell right in our shop at Hubbard's Marina. Those red grouper love octopus, but I like that strip of squid. That's the easiest, most readily available bait. I'll tie a double snell rig, like 60-pound test. My first hook on that 60-pound test is about a 7/0 circle hook, and then I'll space it out. The second hook is much further apart than a normal double snell rig for mangrove snapper. The hooks will be like this far apart, almost 4 inches apart, and the next hook, that top hook, will be a much smaller, like 4 or 5/0 hook. And the reason for that is that big hook goes right in the middle or towards the upper half of that squid strip, and then that small hook goes right in the top of that squid strip. That way, that strip of squid has that big hook sitting in the middle of it. When that red grouper comes up to smack it, he's got that big hook in his mouth. And then that small hook is up towards the top of the squid strip. So when that little porgy or gray snapper comes up to nibble on it, I got a chance to catch him too. So that's my favorite bait for the red grouper. Scamp grouper, just small pinfish. I normally catch scamp grouper the most often when I'm targeting mangrove snappers. So I catch them on those smaller pinfish. And then if you want to target scamp, the only way I know how to target scamp is to go deep water and use those diamond jigs. It seems to really work. A small diamond jig or a small flutter jig bounced right along the bottom works very well for those scamp grouper. But typically on deeper water is where I catch them the most. Let's see what other questions we have here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the show. Make sure you go to, let me show you here real quick. Go to our website after the show. Go to our website, go to the website and go to fishing trips and then the live Q&A show. Right on our live Q&A show page, you can see all the videos from past live Q&A shows if you want to watch the old ones. And then you can see this event link. Click on that event link for me. That's going to take you to our live Q&A Facebook page. I'll post the URL in the comments. Please visit that event page. If you're enjoying the show, visit that event page for me. Click going or click interested, and that's going to help me quite a bit by spreading the word about this show. I would really, really appreciate it if you guys could do that. Just a quick pause there for that. So if you have a minute later, make sure you do that for me. Let's see what other questions we have here. Joshua Blanton said, what is the best technique to catch triple tail? On our boats, we don't really necessarily target triple tail on the party boats, but on our smaller charter boats, you could definitely do a private charter to target triple tail. On your own boats, that's the way you're going to catch triple tail the best, or your buddy's boat, or a private charter with us. Because the way you target triple tail is by cruising those crab trap buoys. Those crab fishermen, they put these big crab traps on the bottom that are full of bait for the crabs, which is basically chum to all those smaller minnows and greenbacks and glass minnows and all the other bait fish out in the Gulf of Mexico, and it attracts predator fish. And then they have a buoy ball so they can find their crab trap, and that buoy ball creates a little piece of floating debris, and those triple tail will hang under that piece of floating debris and ambush passing minnows or bait fish or live shrimp. So all along the beaches there's lines of these crab traps, and you can cruise down those crab traps lines in a tower or up above the water as high as you can get on your boat, and look at that crab trap, but not getting too close, but getting close enough to see it. And if you see that telltale black blob underneath the water, all you do is slowly turn around, slow your boat down, and then try to get upwind or up current of that buoy, and then tie on a DOA shrimp or put on a little live shrimp or a greenback, typically like a 3/0 or 4/0 hook, probably a 4/0 hook. Those things have some pretty big mouths sometimes, and like 20-pound fluorocarbon, and flip that live bait or that DOA shrimp out to that buoy, and that triple tail is going to come out and smack it. I like casting past the object. That way you can adjust by moving your rod or walking up and down the boat to make sure if you don't nail the cast perfectly, you're going to be able to adjust. And then also if you cast past it, you're going to make sure that when that bait smacks the surface of the water, it's not going to spook the triple tail. Because if you cast right at it, it's going to slap the water. That fish is going to spook and you're never going to get a chance to try to catch it. But if you cast past it, you're going to be able to reel it back and make sure that bait gets right next to that buoy, and you're not going to spook the fish. So I like using that DOA shrimp or that live shrimp or that greenback. And then if you want, you can cheat. Like when I'm on the boat with a client that's a little less experienced, I'll use one of those Cajun Thunder one of those Cajun Thunder bobbers. Bobber is the word I'm looking for. And about 6 to 10 inches down, I'll tie that DOA shrimp or a hook that I can hook a live shrimp on, because that bobber is going to give you more weight, more casting distance. You're going to be able to more accurately cast, because if you just hook on a shrimp, you don't have a lot of accuracy, you don't have a lot of distance. Whereas if you put a bobber on it, you've got more weight, you're able to cast more accurately. Again, you want to cast definitely past that fish now with the bobber, because that's going to splash and scare the fish. But that allows you to really target those triple tail. Hopefully that answered your question. Again, please don't hesitate to comment your questions. If I don't get to it, I will always go back and answer it later. Let's see here. Nick Trapani said, what is the best time to target Cubera snapper? I know you guys don't target them, but if I was going to go with you, what was the best time? We caught a Cubera snapper just 2 or 3 months ago, Nick. So you can definitely catch a lot of Cubera, and we do see them from time to time. I typically see the most Cubera towards the end of summertime or through the summertime. The Cubera snapper are the biggest snapper species that we see in our area, and they're very predatory snapper species. We a lot of times, 9 out of 10 times, you catch a Cubera when you're mangrove snapper fishing, and you catch a mangrove and you're reeling it up, and all of a sudden it gets eaten. Now, a lot of people think it's a shark or a Goliath that ate their mangrove snapper, and they try to break it off, and it ends up being a Cubera. So definitely very fun, very unique, and most of the time it's just luck that when we catch these fish. Like the biggest Cubera that I've seen caught was a 116-pound Cubera snapper. My cousin Garrett pulled that up, or a client who was fishing with my cousin Garrett pulled that up during the summer, tail end of July. My cousin Sam caught one on a 39-hour with my cousin Garrett. That was like 92 pounds, same thing. Caught a mangrove snapper, reeling it in, ends up catching that big Cubera. Both those fish were caught using 40-pound tests in one of our Bass Pro Shops Seafire reels that we use for a rental reel. So definitely, if you were going to target Cubera, though, I would go with the July, August, September, and I would use a live lobster for bait. That is apparently the primo Cubera snapper bait. We have a little lobster video game in front of the marina there that a lot of people like playing, and you can win a lobster. And I did that, and I brought 3 live lobster offshore and used them to target Cubera, and I didn't catch one, but I've caught one before using, I've caught one before snapper fishing, reeling in a mangrove. That's how I caught my Cubera, and that's how a lot of people catch theirs. Gabriel Grissom, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Gabriel. Sorry, buddy. But he said, did a 39-hour last summer. Couldn't get a mangrove or a mutton snapper. Do you not have as many up there? We definitely don't have as many mutton snapper in Central West Florida. You really don't see them hardly at all in North Florida. They're more common on the East Coast, all the way up into North Florida. They're common in the Keys. The Keys is definitely kind of the home of the mutton snapper. But we caught a couple mutton snapper on our last overnighter. We catch a couple mutton snapper through the summertime. But this area is not the area to go out mutton snapper fishing and targeting them. We do catch them occasionally. If you want to mutton snapper fish, east coast of Florida, the Keys, we're known for our grouper and snapper fishery here, with a nice big breadth of pelagics, amberjacks, all that stuff. We catch anything in the world, from mutton snapper to mangrove snapper to red snapper. We catch it all here, but we're definitely not known for or mutton snapper. Like in the Keys, they don't have as many grouper species. You don't have as many grouper areas. You can go deep dropping, you can catch the pelagics, but they're more known for their snapper, and that's where you would go for the mutton snapper. Let's see what other questions we have here. Plus, we're the original and longest running. Throw that out there. We actually started back in 1928. My great-grandfather started our company with 7 rowboats and 14 cane poles. So I'm 4th generation. Our business has been fishing local waters for over 90 years and 4 generations. And nowadays we're running hydrofoil assisted catamarans. We're doing live stream fishing shows. We're working with Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's on their pro team. It's really been a blessing to see where it's gone from rowboats with cane poles. Let's see, what other question? Oh, good question here. Alpha Beast on YouTube said, what bait should I use for mangrove snapper on the Skyway fishing pier? If I was out on the Skyway, I'd be using 20-pound fluoro, about a 3 to 4/0 hook, double snell hook for sure. I'd use like maybe I would take a spinning rod, like a 2500, 3000, 4000 series spinning rod with 20-pound braid, all braid. And then I would take my spool of 20-pound fluorocarbon. I'd pull out about a 6 to 7 foot piece. I'd cut it off the spool. I'd do my double snell rig with 3 or 4/0 hooks. Once I've got a double snelled set up on one end of a 6 to 7 foot piece of 20-pound fluorocarbon, I would then do a line to or I'd slide maybe a 1/2 ounce or 3/4 ounce egg sinker on that, and then I'd do a line to line knot to my braided line on my spinning rod, and I'd put either a live shrimp on there or I'd put a greenback on there. Typically you put that on the bottom hook or the hook furthest away from the tip of the rod, and then I'd send that down to bottom, looking for those mangrove snapper. And you can cheat on a beginning of an beginning of an incoming tide, beginning of an outgoing tide. I'd probably do the beginning of an outgoing tide, and I'd go to the north side of the Skyway and I'd drop some chum in the water just as the tide started to go, and then I would fish that down tide side of the bridge or the pier and cast up underneath the bridge. So by the time my line hit the water or hit the bottom, it was straight up and down, or as straight up and down as I could get it. That way all your chum just started to hit the bottom in that area. All those mangrove snapper have their noses tucked behind that piling, waiting for the bait to come rushing around the side of the piling, and all they do is stick their nose into the current and eat it. So it'd be a lot of fun fishing out there for mangrove snapper. I would definitely use some chum drop or snapper up by Aquatic Nutrition Sport Fishing Chum, or I'd take a bunch of frozen shrimp or dead shrimp or fresh shrimp and cut them up with scissors and make small little chunks and use that as chum as well. A bunch of other chum companies out there, but the definitely the small chunks of shrimp is a good secret. Or small chunks of greenbacks as well, but that's a little harder to cut up. You can just put shrimp in a little bait bucket with some water and just put scissors in there and go crazy, and it's real easy. But we are just about out of time here, guys. We have done a lot of fishing comments, questions, and concerns tonight, so we are gonna go ahead and do some giveaways here. So we have a total of 150 unique comments on these 2 videos here. So we are gonna pick a winner. So we're gonna see together how well this thing works. We're gonna give it a a roll here live. Again, we're going to give away 2 10-hour all days for 2 guests. If you win the 10-hour all day for 2 guests, you're going to shoot my page a message, and I will get your name, home address, all that information, and I'll send you a free 10-hour all day for 2 guests. So definitely stay tuned. Here we go. So let's see who won a 10-hour all day for 2 guests. Drum roll, please. Pat McGrath, watching from Niagara Falls, Ontario, coming down there in a week and a half, and I plan on coming out with you guys Sunday. Well, now you're coming out for free, bro, and you get to bring a friend. So look at that, Pat McGrath. Shoot the page a message, and you get a chance to go fishing for free. So thanks for watching. Now we're going to pick another winner. Don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to pick a second winner because you guys helped me get so many viewers tonight. We were definitely north of 200 live viewers between our Facebook and YouTube pages. So we're celebrating another week of 200 plus viewers on this live show. We're going to pick another winner. Pat McGrath, shoot me a message and I will get you that free 10-hour all day for 2 guests. And let's see who won the second 10-hour all day for 2 guests. Ken Kogel Sr. Had a good time last week, Ken Kogel. Now you're going out again. You're coming out this week too, Ken. So thanks for watching, guys. Guys, stay tuned because next week we're going to do this again. Pat McGrath, Ken Kogel Sr. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Next week we're going to do this again. And I'm kind of feeling like we should give some other free trip away besides just the 10-hour all day. So stay tuned next week. I'm kind of feeling crazy. We've got some super light 39-hour trips coming up January, February, and even into March. So I'm thinking about giving away a 39-hour trip next week. So definitely stay tuned to our live stream show. Again, help me out by going to our website here. Go to fishing trips. Go to that live Q&A fishing show and then scroll down here to the events page. Click that event and then go to our Facebook live fishing conversation Facebook. Make sure you click interested and then click going for me. Help me out, guys. Help me out. And if we get a bunch of people on there, we get a bunch of conversations this week. We have another good amount of viewers next week. We're going to give away a 39-hour fishing trip next week. So I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling good. I appreciate y'all spending your Sunday nights with me. Pat McGrath, Ken Kogel, make sure to shoot me a message and collect your free 10-hour all day for 2. The rest of you guys, make sure you share this video with your friends. Make sure you check out that event page. Click interested, click going. Come join us on a 12-hour extreme trip. Don't forget this week the weather looks gorgeous. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. Even tomorrow and Tuesday is only 2.5 foot. So the next 2 days are really nice too. But the weather looks really good the second half of this week. Thursday's 10-hour all day should be on fire. The Wednesday 12-hour extreme trip should be killer. Our Friday 44-hour trip literally only has 16 guys on it. You could come join us and enjoy some awesome fishing time right ahead of that cold front. So come join us for that. Stay tuned to the Hubbard's Marina Facebook, the Hubbard's Marina YouTube channel, and we might give away some free fishing trip. I think if the 44-hour starts getting a lot of people on it, you guys start booking up this 44-hour, we might have to give away a free 44-hour trip this week too. So stay tuned, guys. Make sure you follow our page. Remember, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. So we'll see you next week. Again, this show is every Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. for about an hour. Hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight's show. Next week, I'm going to try to work on getting us a guest in here, even if I have to force one of these captains or crew members to come in and join me. We're going to have hopefully a guest next week and some more photos and videos for y'all. Have a great night. Enjoy. I enjoyed hanging out with y'all. Thank you.